On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Hegseth, man, they're falling into a big trap. Big trap they're falling into. They are literally just running down the signal path, and what we're finding out, what we're going to continue to find out, and what they're asking for, just insanity. But we're finding out that this was put in by Biden. In fact, many could even wonder if it is secure, and I'm starting to actually think it might be because it's freaking them out so much. But we're going to be talking about that. Got a lot of good stuff. Got a second judge that's been arrested. Second in 24 hours. That's interesting. Got a lot to talk about, a lot going on in the world. Obviously, the tariff stuff. Stock market had a rough patch this morning and has kind of neutralized at the moment. Again, I'm tripping out how much the stock market's changing just within a day. And I wouldn't even say a 24-hour period, though futures are a big part of that. But literally just during trading, what is it, like 6 hours, 8 hours it's open? It's crazy, right? So, again, a lot going on. And we've got a good music show coming up today, too. I hope you guys are going to enjoy that as well. It is a little 4.5 hours away from right now. All said. A lot of people were talking about the smiley face moon that was last night, I guess. I didn't actually see it. So I did a little digging on this because I'm like, I've never in my life ever seen the moon lit up from the bottom, ever in my life. That would be, I would probably like shit a Twinkie. I'm pretty sure, purple Twinkie most likely. It would be bad in my mind. So a little digging on it, and what this was all representative of is a couple things. One, perspective. There are places on the planet where this is apparently what the moon looks like from their vantage point. I did not know that. I'm going to assume, what, maybe New Zealand, Antarctica, something, I don't know, someplace in the southern latitudes, because what it looks like for most of us is this. The moon's crescent's on the side. Now, what, from the angle they're talking about, you can see one of the planets and the secondary planet. Now, these two are probably not a fair assessment because I think one is supposed to be Saturn, I think it is. Is it Saturn? I believe so. I think one's Saturn and then one's Mercury. Yeah, Venus and Saturn, sorry. Venus and Saturn. So you're supposed to see the two planets. They make the eye, and then you got the smile, but it's not like this. First off, it's not equal brightness. Second off, unless you're in this weird specific place, which I looked it up in a few different stories, and I couldn't find where that is, by the way, where it looks like that, but there is a specific place on this planet, apparently. I don't know if it's like if you're in space or what. So, again, a lot of people were talking about that, freaking out about that. It didn't quite happen the way a lot of people freaked out about, which, again, that's sort of normal. Trump is leaving to go see the Pope, and here is his speech as he's about to head that way.
We're leaving and going to Rome, where we'll be attending the funeral of Pope Francis. Some of you are going to go. Anybody going? And it's going to be very interesting. We're going to meet with a lot of the foreign leaders they want to meet. Trade deals are going very well. I think Russia and Ukraine, I think they're coming along, we hope. Very fragile. And Iran, I think, is going very well. We'll see what happens. We're working on plenty of things that shouldn't be worked on because none of this stuff should have happened. This should have been taken place by Biden. It should have been fixed by Biden, but he couldn't do it, nor could he come close to doing. So anyway, we're going to Rome to pay our respects, and we'll be leaving that same day. We'll be coming back home tomorrow night, and I'll see some of you over there. Otherwise, I'll see you on television.
Otherwise, big giant middle finger to you. So there was a big, it's a relative term. Ohio, I don't believe, gets a lot of earthquakes. It had a 3.1 magnitude earthquake hit outside the capital city out there. 3.1, 77 miles east of Columbus. So probably freaked some people out if they felt it. I mean, it's pretty small still, but yeah, when you don't ever have earthquakes and suddenly you're like, what the hell was that? Especially if it lasts, for a few seconds or longer, then you definitely know it's happening, or you'll see stuff swaying and you're like, what is that noise? Like, there's so many things that come with earthquakes. The noise is kind of a trip. That's usually the one that's really weird. It's just how loud it is. Story that's floating around, and I don't know, it's bumming me out. This particular individual's bumming me out a little bit today. So whatever the case is, the story, she's talking about this DEF CON warning system. It's not an actual government site, first off. Just wanted to use this moment to point that out. I guess they've changed their warning to DEF CON 4. Now, I don't know. Whatever the case is, she's saying, Melissa, that the warning system has updated its level to 4, likely in response to developments including Iran. Level 4 is one step below the highest alert level. Note that this is not an official DEFCON status, as the official levels are not publicly disclosed. But when you look at DEFCON and what the levels mean, what actually DEFCON 5 levels mean, DEFCON 5 is normal, fade out, nothing going on. DEFCON 4 is double take, above normal. DEFCON 3's roundhouse. Air Force, 15 minutes to mobilization. Force readiness increased above normal levels. DEFCON 2, fast-paced. Army forces, 6 hours or less to deploy and engage. Near nuclear war. And DEFCON 1, cocked pistol, maximum readiness, nuclear war imminent. So I don't know what they're referring to if it's not the normal DEFCON warning. I actually think, and I've had a lot of people say it backwards, so I don't know if this site's just backwards, which is weird also, if you think about it. Whatever the case is, someone's not doing it right. And, you know, maybe it's the government. We're not going to play this because this was forever ago when Tucker was actually on Fox News. But we are now faced with the prospect of this radical experiment. The week the British government finally tell us that they're going to start conducting geoengineering trials to combat climate change. What we've come to find out is Kennedy reposted this whole thing, right? Because they're going to start having trials for climate change. People that have actually done things like Bill Gates or these people that want to put pollutants in the sky and haven't tested it, just doing it. Kennedy's like, yeah, we're going to soon end this crime against humanity and our planet and bring justice to the plutocrats who are perpetrating this mass-controlled experiment, which is obviously all the stuff they're painting in the sky or putting in the fuel or a mixture of everything above. All the above, having us fly at certain altitudes because it's more effective. A lot of things. At least so my studies have shown. A lot of people believe very strongly that there's planes that got fuel rods coming off the back and they're just dumping shit into the air. All right, whatever. I don't want to argue it. Like, I know it pisses some people off. So there's one guy sent a chat, one of my live shows, put a chat in there. He's like, I've stopped watching you because of your views on chemtrailing. I'm like, wow. I mean, I actually been talking about it for eons, but came across some interesting information that kind of expanded my mind a little bit. It's kind of funny how that works. And people get pissed off. Cracks me up. Florida Democrat Minority Leader Jason Pizzo. He's changing parties like so many.
Whom I'm finding may not want it. There'll be a caucus meeting later this afternoon where I hope that the members of the Democratic caucus will elect a new leader. For today, I FedExed my voter registration form to change my party affiliation to no party affiliation. Joe Scott should receive that by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning in Broward County. And here's why. Our constituents are craving practical leaders, not political hacks. We are entrusted to be guided by our conscience, and while I suppose it's easier in theory than it is in application, even my worst detractors have no valid claim that I can be bullied, that I can be bought, or even borrowed for a special interest. I am my father's son, even in his death. I am my mother's son while she is still alive. I will not miss another one of her birthdays, and I will return to who I was when I became a young man, independent in thought, in my passion, and my conscience, not consultants.
Now, I hate to be critical, whoever this dude is, and welcome to the independent/Republican side or whatever you've done. But when you said, I'm still my father's son, even though he's passed away, and then you clarify with the case of your mother, you're still your mother's son so long as she's alive. Well, I don't know, just based off of what you're telling me thus far, I assume if your mom passes away, you're still going to probably call yourself your mother's son. I don't understand the weird kind of the way you spell that, but okay, well, welcome to the party. Yeah, not everybody's going to be as big a dick as I am, do you? I'm just kidding. I mean, they won't, but you know, Trump endorses 2 GOP candidates for Arizona governor in a race to unseat Governor Hobbs. We are going to hit Hobbs hard, super hard. We're also going to be fixing the elections. There's a lot of election stuff going on to make sure, one, going forward, our elections are clear. I think a lot of that is either A, going to uncover some of the problems of the past, or if not, we're going to use that same rationale to go backwards and figure out some of the stuff that's potentially not legal because of the way elections have been taken. Again, how this plays out, I don't know. I'm like everybody else. I very much want to see the fact that 2020 was stolen from us. I want to see the facts. I want to have paper ballots. I want to see how many people voted in these elections that weren't actual citizens. Like, I want to see it all. I want to see it all. So anyway, let's get Katie Hobbs the hell out of the way. Whole bunch of governors running there. What, the Hilton dude from Fox News, he's running here in California. I don't know, buddy of mine's all excited about that. I'm like, I don't know, dude's been on TV forever, and he's part of the Hilton family, I think. And I was asking him, he's like, I think so? I didn't look it up. I don't know. And again, doesn't mean he's a bad guy. It's just like, that's an extra red flag after red flag. But whatever, right? We'll see when we get closer to some of these elections. We'll start to weigh some of these people. And in all honesty, I'm very curious to see who Trump is behind, because that's going to help tremendously. Trump is the guy that's really, most of us get hoodwinked. Let's be honest. We aren't 100% sure what's going on. California surpasses Japan as the world's fourth largest economy. It's cool, super cool. At the same time, it sucks that we can't manage our own country, state better. I wish we did. It's funny, too. I thought about, I wonder if SpaceX were actually here, how much higher that number would be, Gavin. If you weren't such a dick to businesses. I wonder how much better that number would even be. Whatever the case. Yay, I guess. It's cool, and it's barely over, Japan. And Japan, get on it so we can go back to number 5, please. It's going to go to our friggin' heads. China is quietly exempting some U.S.-made semiconductors from the tariffs. They've actually quietly whittled off some of their tariff stuff. And it's, one, it's affecting the markets. 2, it is indicating that discussions are being had, but publicly, at least facing their country specifically and us. China, CCP party, whatever, has to, no matter what, look like they're doing this the right way, look like they're winning. No matter what. Even if they're literally doing something stupid and they keep hitting their hand with a hammer, they're going to explain how this is exactly what's supposed to happen, right? Just to use a stupid example. So they're making these little concessions. China's acknowledging, much like we are figuring out too, but we'll see. I wonder how bad it would go on either side. One, there are some supplies that we actually provide China that they can't get from better places. Ethanol is one of them. We make a bunch of it. We're super good at it. They need it for plastics. They don't have it. They don't have a bunch of corn, I don't think, is probably part of it, or they use it to feed animals, or I don't know, whatever. So semiconductors, they obviously need those, don't they? So China's like, no, we're not gonna tariff that. So there's a few different things. This kind of calls out some of them, which is pretty cool, that China's recently done quietly. Now, like I said with the Airbus thing that happened, well, guess what? Boeing's on this now. So Boeing, I think it was Boeing leases, no tariffs on those. So those planes that they're like, we're not going to take possession of those planes. Trump's like, well, you should probably do that or else, And it wasn't that. They were saying Boeing should have some sort of problem for them. But China realizes, one, they need the planes. They're probably the best. 2, Airbus has problems too. And you're giving it to Europe at that case, and I don't think he really cares about Europe. So, again, that's a couple of them. The plastic companies, like I said, for the ethane, critical input, China needs it. We make it. We're actually one of the best at it, I guess. So they're trying to do some stuff in the background that will likely make a difference. Port of Los Angeles, huge declines right now in shipping. This is going to affect California. We will definitely drop below Japan this year because of the shipping and how this is going to affect them. And, again, it's funny. Some of the states that are being punished right now are the ones that are being most resistant. I would not going to say most Democrat, but I will say the states that are being most resistant are Democrat states. And they are the ones that are actually having some of the burden right now, having some of the problem. And oddly, it was the red states that were having a problem during the Biden administration. Remember, he was constantly fighting with Florida, constantly fighting with Texas, Mississippi, right? Constantly. So, again, anybody that tries to say it's political, it's always political. It's always been political. It's kind of like when people say it's business, it's not personal. It's like, I've always laughed at that, by the way. I understand it's business. You got to do what you got to do. I totally get it. But business is made up of people. It's always personal in business. This is one thing I always thought was kind of one of the funniest, felonious things that people in business tell themselves. And I think it's so they can sleep at night, knowing that I just laid off 1,000 people. Oh, right? Like, I mean, you gotta have something not going on there. Anywho, our export orders have disappeared. Chinese factories literally shutting down. This is affecting China, too. They've had to pull back and scale back. They've literally had to shut down third shifts. They've had to shut down actual entire factory lines, literally letting people or furloughing people. China is not in as good a place as China pretends to be. I think Trump knew that, too. Trump knows how fragile the markets was. I think Trump was testing, but demonstrating that, one, I can make these numbers soar if you'll let me, or two, I can F with these numbers hard if I need to. He's telling the deep state that I can also mess things up as well, or possibly affect them if you guys do. Might be some of it too. Now, a lot of people are, of course, crying right now, especially states. I think we got Chicago somewhere at some point is going to get called out. And they've actually been pissed off because of the tariffs. And so they now want to sue Trump. He was talking about how he wants to raise taxes. And it's like, Jesus, are you serious? It's in the Dems' demise. That's where I've got that story. So anyway, Trump says Xi called him, lays out the trade plans and all this, right? Like, we're going to have a deal. It's probably coming in 3-4 weeks, blah, 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 blah. Now, China doesn't exactly want to admit that there's a deal, so they're kind of playing that back a little bit, whatever the case is. But they're like, I wish he would stop being so public, kind of, stuff like that. So strange. Also, some things going on the world front right now. We've got 3 more Russian insurers, including a subsidiary of top lender Sberbank, have asked India for approval to provide marine insurance for oil shipments sent to Indian ports. So again, we're going to see India's making deals with Russia, even though there's sanctions on Russia. India's like, don't care, buying oil from them. Thank you very much. And again, I kind of think this is part of how things are going to get fixed. Trump's got to have sanctions, got to look like he's doing stuff. People are probably going to call him on this and be like, yeah, I talked to him. I said really stern things. Putin, you got to stop this, right? But ultimately, he's trying to stop the war. That's what he cares about. He doesn't give a crap about this. He wants the war to stop so we can start doing business with Russia because no one else will. It's an open market is how Trump sees it, and he's 100% right. And not only that, it's the best market for Russia to connect with. We buy everything. You kidding me? Bring it. We'll have the best relationship ever, and Ukraine's going to be part of that too. Russian, American companies will be in there. It's going to be kind of crazy. So Wall Street's pain is wrecking the case against tariffs. I think what a lot of this talk is about is the tariffs. They keep trying to say it's him, but then these things keep happening that are making the tariffs better, and right, and then so news gets sort of better, but then some other problem shows up. An earnings report, the fact that somebody's pulling back their production, their numbers are being pulled back. Even talks about how the S&P has market reactions. They've fallen by nearly 15% since February. If tariffs were a giveaway to big business, equity values would be rising in anticipation of protected profits. Instead, markets are adjusting to the fact that margins may shrink as companies invest more at home and pass fewer costs on to customers. So what they're kind of saying is, look, all these people are building this stuff offshore. I worked for a company. We did our manufacturing in New Zealand. And so because of that, we here in the United States would pay for the product from them. We'd buy it at a buying cost, and then we'd sell it to our customers at our cost. But what that did is that controlled the margin. And the reason they did that is because they didn't want us here in America to have to pay a lot in American taxes when they were a New Zealand company, and they'd rather pay the profit taxes there. A lot of countries do that, certainly if it's foreign made, some of the games that are played. But this is where the problem is. This is where the squeeze is happening. And if these people brought their manufacturing here, well, their numbers wouldn't suck as bad as they're seeming to. Because again, they're losing that margin they had. They don't have that profit baked in now because the tariffs are squeezing that. And that is a big part of Who's making the noise right now? It's, of course, the deep state. And which companies are the ones that are going to get affected? It's the ones that have been using slave labor in other countries to make their products. No offense, but iPhones have been had slave people. I think the Uyghurs were making that at some point. If not, they're making other stuff that people buy. That's literally slave people that don't get paid anything. Well, I guess they get fed. And they're literally punished if they don't work. So yeah, Dow Jones was literally at 1 when I went up 1 when I started recording. I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen that before in my life. I don't think I've ever seen the Dow Jones at 1. Now, as you can see in the graph, it had a tough morning, and then it got better. Then it got way worse. Then it got sort of better and better and better. This is what's going on right now. See, S&P had a weird spiky do, and then it popped back up, and now it's back down. NASDAQ, much the same, I'm sure. Usually it mirrors the S&P graph. So this is just today, by the way, this graphs that are on the screen. Gold's down a little bit, 33.02, so that's fine. It's all good. Silver's down a little bit, also fine. No biggie. That means the dollar's strengthening. That's honestly a good thing. I don't think it's going to stay there, but it's a good thing. Again, just reminding you folks, DRSlikesgold.com. If you're still in the system, if you're still in a 401k or an IRA, highly recommend you consider getting out. Precious metals is an amazing place to put it. It holds the value. It literally will carry you through, and the prices have gone up an insane amount over the past year plus. I mean, certainly the past 3-4 years. Got up a bunch. It's still one of the safest bets out there. Of all the assets, it was the number one asset as far as to own right now. This is crazy times. Don't know how it's going to play out, but we do know the Fed needs to go, and we've got to have extensive change. It has to happen somehow. The only time that's ever going to be able to happen is this time in history. Protect yourself. If you're still in their system, diversify, protect yourself, get the frick out. Now, again, my friends at Goldco, they don't necessarily buy into all the crazy crap I talk about, so don't be like, Dan said this and that. That's not what they're there for. Legally, they're there to help you do this tax-free, penalty-free, to help you answer all your questions about this process, and their customer service is amazing. And also, to help you with this process. There's many moving parts. Money's got to come from whoever's holding it currently, Fidelity or BlackRock or whoever it is. Gets moved into a holding area. Then that's got to purchase precious metals. Those precious metals need to be received, put into a location. That's how it's done tax-free, penalty-free. They're physical metals. They just can't give them to you because that's the same thing as giving you the cash. So there's many processes to this. They are extremely good at doing it. They're extremely good at answering all the questions, and they're make it easy to do as well. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system while you can. Otherwise, it's going to suck. All right, Dems demise. They've got some weird stuff going on. First off, Democrats threatening Salvadorian people to get MS-13 suspect back. They literally want to bring this dude back. Desperately. I mean, this guy, his stories have come out how he beat his wife. He's got in trouble for that. He's been busted a couple times. He was busted transporting people back in 2022, Tennessee Highway Patrol, whole bunch of stuff around this one guy being a douchehole. MS-13 tattooed on his hands, or all the different symbols. And then having drinks. I don't want to say margaritas because they say, whatever. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume those were just placed there just to make it look bad, but whatever. Still sitting there having drinks with a convicted criminal. And we've got judges still trying to say, you've got to bring them back. So this is who they're fighting for. It's messed up. Well, apparently Larry David, one of the creators of Seinfeld, the guy that actually is George's character, I believe, he is said something just ridiculous. And Bill Maher is kind of attacking him, and I don't know, kind of digging it when Bill Maher attacks his own people. It's always fun for me.
Well, let's talk Larry David, because you're friends, aren't you? Were you friends? Are you friends?
Yes, of course. I mean, this wasn't, my favorite moment of our friendship, but, look, I don't want to get in too much into that, but I think the minute you play the Hitler card,
that's what I think.
You've lost the argument.
Yes.
And also, I must say, come on, man. Hitler, Nazis, nobody has been harder about and more prescient, I must say, about Donald Trump than me. I don't need to be lectured on who Donald Trump is. Just the fact that I met him in person didn't change that. And the fact that I reported honestly is not a sin either. But, to use the Hitler thing First of all, I just think it's kind of insulting to 6 million
Yes.
dead Jews. You know, like that should kind of be in its own place in history. And, you know, I know people can say, well, we're just comparing it in this way. Well, it's an argument you kind of lost just to start it. It's just, look, maybe it's not completely logically fair, but Hitler has really kind of got to stay in his own place. He is the goat of evil, and we're just going to have to, I think, leave it like that. So, you know, did I think that was appropriate? No, but people have the right to.
Did you know he was going to do it?
Of course not. And people.
How did you find out?
You know, my publicist said, this is going on today, and you should know it. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know I don't know if I'd ever respond. Like, there's a few of the celebrities that just don't ever respond to crap, and I find it's more effective, it seems, because the people that do it just seem to continue on. Doesn't matter. But again, the Dems are just shooting themselves in the foot. They are fighting the wrong fights. They have stepped away from the people they used to represent. Again, I was never a Democrat. Never would be, never want to be one, will never be one. But I had a lot of family that were, and we got along. In fact, I enjoyed the conversations we had. I was always kind of in the center anyways, and it was fun listening to both sides fight. I always enjoyed the hell out of it. Not anymore. It's just they don't have anything they stand for. They stand for a bunch of nonsense. Or, as they would say, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything.
And a person who half my family was murdered by the actual Hitler. You know, in addition to it being deeply offensive to Jews, to call Trump Hitler is to call over 80 million Americans, 35% of Jewish Americans, 56% of Hispanic men, and the majority of Americans who make under $100,000 a year, Nazis, because those are the people who gave Donald Trump his victory. And I just have a pro tip for any Democrats who are thinking about winning back the working class, those people who make under $100,000 a year, who a majority of whom voted for Trump. You should have a visceral disgust for someone like Larry David, who's worth $400 million, sitting there and sneering and smearing the hardest working Americans for refusing to co-sign their own disinheritance. That's effectively what they are doing when these millionaires come out here and call Trump Hitler. They are calling working class Americans Nazis because they chose the person they thought would give their children back the future they were promised by this country. And it just has to stop.
Extraordinarily true. Extraordinarily true. Don't know how that happened, but that's awesome. It's fantastic, too. The Star of David, by the way, is another sign or symbol that was stolen from us, much like many things, the numbers and 17. But there's a number of symbols that literally have been stolen from us, and that's one of them. We'll get that back at some point. Gavin Newsom is talking about California oil refineries. He's trying to keep them open. Number of these refineries are closing down. He was just talking about how he was number 4 in GDP. Well, that's already done. He's already managed to make so many things happen that's causing us to lose, one, refining. Refining's funny because California's got a specific blend of gas, and we get the privilege of paying at least an extra $1 a gallon from what the national average is. So whatever the national average is, I tack on $1. That's probably closer to what I'm paying right now, right? Not the case for everybody else. Now, here's the fun thing. I don't think we even sell, maybe we sell our gas to other places, but I don't even think we do that because no one's stupid enough to pay that much money for stupid gas. So they're shutting down, probably because of how onerous it is to have a business in this state, especially one like that, one that's got greenhouse gas emissions and stuff. So what do? You leave. Because it's not like I can continue to charge insane amounts for things. I can't pay. I mean, like, it's just going to become ridiculous at some point, Gavin Newsom. And that's the thing. They're always like, just pass it on to the consumer. Who gives a crap? Why are you worried about paying someone $100 an hour? It's like, because it's ridiculous. We can't. We got to pay insurance on that, profit sharing on that. No. People can retire expecting that kind of money in their pension. We're not making that much. They're squeezing the margins. Again, do I Think fat cats should get the ability to, like if you look at CEOs, man, they make so much money. And it's so they can be competitive to bring in the best of the best. But at the same time, what are they, are they really worth that level of money? The golden parachutes that we've given? I mean, don't even get me started. This is where I start to get into some of my crazy talk. But yeah, Gavin Newsom's ruined the state so much. He also broke Medicaid too, by the way. He's been using it for homeless and likely illegals. I don't know for sure. A lot of USAID money used to be coming into here. He was using volunteers for firefighting, which was paid for by USAID, by the way. He was using that. So he didn't have to pay. Yeah, again, this guy is obviously, I think he's termed out anyway. This should have been recalled. The way they did the recall was freaking crazy messed up. They had this weird question, and the way it was written in like a double negative or something weird, it was just weirdly done. So most people answered it the wrong way. Most people wanted Newsom the hell out. But the first question was the one that set the tone for the whole ballot, which is fudged up too. If there's no way I drop an F-bomb by the end of this, I will be shocked. I'm trying, though. I am trying. There's been a few times I've tried. Brandon Johnson, this is the guy from Chicago, mayor, talking about how he is pissed off at tariffs. He wants to raise taxes instead. Again, it's just I don't want to get into all this. It's stupid. Right now, the Democrats are on the wrong side of everything. And most of the old school Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, just to name a couple, are on the shit side of things right now. Nobody likes them. Here's CNN talking about shitty Schumer.
Campaign texts and calls from senators who want that job. But it does come as Democrats are trying to chart a course forward, and they are facing headwinds. What kind of headwinds? CNN's chief data analyst, Harry Etten, with the wind in his sails constantly.
Yes. You're the wind beneath my wings, John.
With us. Democrats, how much has their confidence fallen in their leaders?
Yeah, this, I think, is a revolt that is going on within the Democratic Party right now, Democrats and their leaders. I mean, take a look nationally. Hello, Democrats on Dem leaders in Congress. The belief that they will do the right thing when it comes to the economy. Last year at this time, 80% believed that the Democratic leaders in Congress would do the right thing when it comes to the economy. And keep in mind, this is Democrats. Look at where we are now. That number has been slashed in half to just 39%. Holy Toledo, that is the lowest number by far in Gallup polling. The lowest previous was just 60%, which is 21 points higher than this. Democrats hate what their congressional leaders in Washington are doing right now on the key issue of the day, the economy, and their confidence has fallen through the floor, Mr. Berman.
All right, Chuck Schumer is the Senate Democratic leader right now. How are feelings about him, particularly in New York?
Yeah, let's go to the state of New York. It's what's always on my mind, right? We're in the state of New York right now. New York Democrats on Chuck Schumer view him favorably. In December of 2024, that was just a few months ago, it was 73%. Look at where that number has fallen to in just a few months. It is now down to just 52%. That is the lowest I could ever find in Siena College on how Democrats in Chuck Schumer's home state view him. And keep in mind, if you're thinking about a primary challenge, it would be a few years away. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's favorable rating among Democrats is considerably higher in the 60s. So he is doing quite poorly in his own home state of New York. I never thought I'd see the day in which just 52% of New York Democrats would view Chuck Schumer favorably. It's almost unfathomable.
Yeah, I like the footnote, the tiny footnote here. I think it will look much bigger to the Schumer team this morning as they look at that. When you're talking about Chuck Schumer, why? Is there an answer to the question? Is there an answer to the question of why his ratings dropped?
Yeah, it's because they simply don't like the job he's doing as Senate leader. I mean, look at this. Should Schumer stay as Senate leader? Again, according to New York Democrats, just 50% say yes. Look at this number. 48% say no. This screams sirens should be going off. Primary challenge, primary challenge, primary challenge. When you're a Democrat in New York and these are your ratings, this is a big wake-up call if you're Chuck Schumer, John Berman.
Harry Etten, thank you very much.
I'm
glad we're using last names this morning. Sarah.
We're using full names, full government name.
So what's happening right now with the Democrat Party? What's going on? One, they're attacking their own. We're seeing the split, the divide. The Democrat Party literally was taken over, or has always been at its core, the communist party. I know the history and the slaves and everything, so whatever. Let's not waste time on all that, okay? They've always kind of been rooted in some really nasty stuff. Most people believe they were the party of the people. They were the party of Martin Luther King. They were the party of this and the party of that, all the good stuff. But what we're seeing, it's not really true. Now, one of the other major points I want to bring up is if you think about it, so this is just a moment, just to try to help you assess how well we're doing right now, especially those of you that are like, we're not doing, it's not happening fast enough. Let me throw this at you. Let me see what you think. Twitter was taken over by Elon Musk when? When was that? I don't even know. We should probably look it up. Hopefully I can pull it up fast enough to make it worthwhile. Let's see. Musk, not Twitter. October 2022. October 2022. Here we are. April 25th, 2025. To what, 2.5 years later? 2.5 years later. Look at how far things have shifted. Look at how much honesty and truth has come out. Look at how much the Democrat Party has fallen into trap after trap after trap. 2.5 years. Look at how many years they spent creating their reputation, their trust. Again, it takes years to create a reputation and only seconds to cause it to crash down. Or some would say, I think another quote I heard that's also pretty cool, is that your reputation, a positive reputation, is filled with raindrops, while your unfavorability or lack of reputation or destruction of reputation is done with buckets. I'm jacked that one up hard, but the basic point. It takes a long time to build trust with people and only a second to trash it. True. All you got to do is say the wrong thing about chemtrails, apparently. I love it. I love it. House Democrats' headaches are about to get much worse. Or flat Earth. That's another one that, man, that'll piss some people off. Boy, oh boy. Again, I don't pick on you too much. I'm pretty fair, I think. I don't know for sure. That's one thing I always say. I've not been up in space. I have not used my eyes to see it. So, House Democrats' headaches are about to get much worse. They're failing. I highlighted the name just because I thought it was interesting. So the person that's going after Nancy Pelosi's seat is Sekat Chakrabarti. Again, I get it, the implication, but it's like at the same time, I think a lot of us right now are like, damn, I'd love to see some of those good old Mike Smith kind of names again, some sorta, or Brown as a last name. That's a common last name for not just because of the color. It's funny how the colors do work, though. How there's the whites, like I knew the white family or members of, and I knew a few members of Brown family. It's just funny how there was families that were literally just colors. I don't know if those started from. I don't know how the hell that started. Think about it, right? Like the white family, the Brown family. How do you get a family name that's a color? That seems weird. Colors. Anyway, too long ago. Brainwash Doc Democrat continues to see imminent inflation apocalypse. But UMich sentiment improved intra-month. Well, okay, all I want to point out on this story, because it's a great story. It's fantastic. Good job, Zero Hedge, always. Michigan, extraordinarily taken over by the left progressive-leaning side of things. Just overwhelming amount of people that respond to it are of that ilk. It always has kind of gravitated in that direction, abnormally so compared to other similar types of studies. So it's a very strange study, and they've gone into a more online format, which has made it even worse. So, yeah, they have a bunch of numbers. Who gives a shit what they are? But it is interesting that the one thing that came out of this is Democrats really have more of this inflation still zooming along, and it has to be. And they're going to keep saying it is. And every time they say, and this is the thing that blows me away the most about the markets. This is what trips me out. And this is what Trump's fighting with. But when the press says something, and they've got this hyperinflation thing in mind, so if they keep talking about how things are hyperinflated, the markets will react as if that's actually true. They've been manipulating stuff for eons. Eons. This is breaking apart. 2.5 years since Twitter, which has really been a guaranteed truth platform. No offense to Truth Social. Love Truth Social, right? I always try to embed my story in there. It's too big to upload. I've tried. Just doesn't work. It just spins forever and it never, ever, ever actually says that file's too big or anything. Just lets me think I'm trying, but never actually finishes. It's like the relationships I've had. Whatever. Alex Source trashed as difficult. Wrong person to lead the Mega Donor Foundation in a New York mag profile. It's just a stupid magazine, but whatever. Even the left are friggin' hating on Alex Soros right now. Like, he's the wrong guy. George Soros just had like a level of evil inside of him that his son just, I don't know. He's having sex with chickens and stuff. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't think that's true. I don't think Alex Soros, I have not heard any credible sources say that that's true. Just saying. Alex Soros has not necessarily had sex with chickens. I'm not saying he has or hasn't. But, yeah, I don't think so. Just saying. Yeah, I'd like to see that one played out in a court, and they're like reading that out loud. Mm-hmm. Did you say this? Yeah, I think I did say that, actually. That sounds right. Rwanda genocide leader living in exclusive New York enclave has been arrested for alleged immigration violations. I'm sure for other things too. I'm not even going to try to say this dude's name. Well, actually, let's have fun with it. Faustin, I can handle that. But Nsabu Mukunzi, hell yeah, he was arrested in the Hamptons on alleged visa fraud. I don't know. They're keeping this one a little quiet. That always trips me out. Usually they got all sorts of, he was here, broke visa, and he was talking to people in the wrong group, and they said this, and you said you're ugly, and then because of that we're gonna like, nope. Just like, yep, dude's been here. He's a violent leader guy, basically alleged leader of a violent revolution and a genocide that happened where he just killed all sorts of people. He's been just living large in Long Island. There we go. It's better. It's closer. You gotta put the two words together, but you gotta really hit the G. I feel like that's kind of where it's at to me. I don't know. That's what I'm hearing. Long Island. There you go. That's better. Long Island hospital chair fired just hours after revealing thieves stole FBI probe docs from his home in a growing scandal. This is a very interesting story in a lot of ways. It's got Seth Rich kind of feel to it. They haven't killed him yet, and I sure hope they don't. Bubble around him. Got to bubble around you, buddy. But Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, he was once appeared to be aligned with Bruderman's claims that the hospital was robbed of more than $1 billion by state and Pryor County leaders since 2006. He pulled the plug on his 3-year tenure late Thursday. Someone jumped into this Bruderman's home. So Bruderman figured out some weird scheme that was going on. Had put a bunch of information together in a binder. That's what he's calling it. This binder that was being used in a probe, an FBI thing, and, he was hated by actually Hochul and probably whoever's in charge of Nassau County or however that works. They hated his ass because he exposed some fraud, basically. I'm making the word up. I don't know what's all in here. Someone broke into his house and stole the binder, nothing else. Right. I mean, if you hadn't come to some conclusion that makes logical sense, then you shouldn't be playing this game. But keep watching, please. You can ask people in the comments, what the hell, what did he mean? What did we find? Why did they break in and only take the binder? Someone help her, please, in the audience. Yeah, crazy. Trump signs presidential memo targeting Act Blue foreign donations and fraud allegations. He's signed an executive order. Or he's targeting presidential memo. Okay, was that like a PED kind of similar? Oh, memos are like executive actions or orders. I don't know the difference, but obviously they matter. And yeah, whatever. He's pushing forward on that, which I've been waiting for. I thought it would happen at different times, but now is a really bitchin' time to start that up because they're going to start trying to fundraise very soon. And so I think Trump knows the whole cycle way better than I'm going to pretend to. So Trump's saying, I'm really not trolling with the talk of Canada as the 51st state. Like, literally, no, I'm not trolling. I'm actually thinking that's a good idea. I'm just saying, but yeah, whatever. Like he plays it off. It's all cool. I love what's happening. The Greenland thing, the 51st state thing, because both of those things, in my opinion, are going to definitely happen. Call me crazy later. Call me crazy now. I don't care. Whatever. I think those for sure will happen. And I do end up think we'll take back over control of the Panama Canal. At some point, it will become necessary. And well, yeah, probably. So when that does happen, and I think it'll be when China does any sort of anything with Taiwan and or other places, because there's some weird stuff brewing on their part of the world right now. If they do anything like that, we will literally blockade the Panama Canal. It would put China into a huge mess of a problem. Because either A, you pay us to come through the canal, because we're collecting for Ecuador now, or for Panama now, or you go around. And going around costs a hell lot more. That's a big move, and it will happen. And it will cause the markets to stir. It's all happening, folks. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum said Wednesday that the department's streamlining of permits will bring department review time from potentially years to just 28 days. We are about to boom time this country. Again, some sort of weird crashish kind of thing sort of needs to happen, but what needs to also happen or be ready is the effect and the boom effect that can kick in immediately. And so if that's asset-backed, assets could very well be the oil under our land. That's an asset. Like, there's a lot of things that the United States could say, we've got huge amounts of money. We've got mineral deposits. We've got assets like petroleum and natural gas. We've got a lot of things that we're going to back our money with. Well, we could create new money and get the Fed out, right? So what has to happen to cause everybody to be okay with that? That's the thing that, your speculations is probably as good as mine. But energy resources are going to be fast-tracked. Natural gas, crude oil, least condensates, natural gas liquids, refined petroleum products, uranium, coal, biofuels, geothermal, all this stuff, the stuff that we need. Uranium especially, batteries. It's one of the easiest sources to do it. If you can get it small and clean, it's not a bad way to go. But it can also be extraordinarily dangerous, but we've gotten really smart over the years, that's for sure. Dr. Oz is talking about his main focus, without question, is to wage war on fraud, waste, and abuse. I'll go ahead and play this. What the hell? I don't particularly like him, but I mean, he's growing on me, I guess.
Can make sure providers have better opportunities and incentivize them to do the right thing, because oftentimes in CMS we've unfortunately gotten folks to do things wrong because we pay them for doing things incorrectly. But right now my main focus, without any question, is to wage a war on fraud, waste, and abuse.
Okay.
Because that's what's required. All hands on deck. It's a massive issue. Hundreds of billions of dollars potentially out there. Not all of it's going to be collected at once, but we've got a war room right now focused very much on things that are going to really bother you. If you thought USAID was a problem, some of the issues that we're discovering, some of the things that CMS has been funding through Medicare and Medicaid and the exchanges will bring a little shiver to you.
A shiver. I don't like shivers at all. Well, I do kind of. It looked like a green behind his hair. I'm hoping that's a green screen and not like he needs to start using that special shampoo. I'm not sure which. The American Bar Association is suing U.S. Justice Department, claiming retaliation over their grants. They're going to try to block the Justice Department and the U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi, from canceling $3.2 million in grants used to train lawyers to represent victims of domestic and sexual violence, saying the move violates the First Amendment. I want to know how me taking back budgetary money keeps you from your First Amendment right. I want to hear this. I hope the story pops up when that happens. That'll be rad, because that's awesome. I want to hear it. Whatever the case is, yeah, American Bar, they're trying to fight for what's inevitably happening right now. Trump executive order says the ABA's role as law school accreditor may be revoked. Who's ABA? That's the American Bar Association. They may lose their ability to be an accreditor. Do you realize how much money they make accrediting schools? This is not only a shot across the bow, this is an actual takedown. So again, people talking about the military in the streets, this is the shit. This is like almost Brunson level, almost, but kind of, sort of what you should be looking for. I think this is great examples of the takedown happening. They're, of course, going to fight it in court, but F them. A judge blocks parts of Trump's overhaul of U.S. elections, including proof of citizenship requirement. It blocked it for now, but we're doing this early enough, in my opinion. And again, this is for federal elections. This is pretty awesome. U.S. District Judge Colleen Collar-Cotley in Washington State. Wah, wah, wah. And in reality, she should only have the ability to block it for Washington and whatever her district is, not for the rest of the country. This is, again, where these judges are way overstepping their boundaries. And I think the ones that have will be removed from the bench for sure. Will definitely be removed. Unquestionable. Whether worse things happen, we'll see. I think they should be disbarred, frankly, because they shouldn't be able to be allowed to practice law after doing that kind of stuff. Abusing law the way they did? No. Kash Patel put this out today. Just now, the FBI arrested Judge Hannah Dugan out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin on charges of obstruction after evidence of Judge Dugan obstructing an immigration arrest operation last week. We believe Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, allowing the subject, an illegal alien, to evade arrest. Thankfully, our agents chased down the perp on foot, and he's been in custody since. But the judge's obstruction created increased danger to the public. We will have more to share soon. The judge got arrested. The second judge to have that happen right now, too, which is pretty awesome from that standpoint. Here's a little Fox thing that kind of talks about it with Pam Bundy.
Wisconsin judge under arrest and facing charges accused of flouting federal law to help an illegal immigrant. Federal prosecutors say Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan allegedly helped that migrant avoid arrest by ICE officers at the courthouse. It's a bizarre case and it's still unfolding. Hello, I'm John Roberts in Washington. Sandra, good to see you back again.
All right, good to be back with you as well, John. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and this is America Reports. So today's arrest of a judge marks the second such case in the last 24 hours. A former New Mexico judge and his wife were taken into custody yesterday. Federal agents arresting them for harboring a suspected Trinidad gang member in their guest house.
For more on all of this, we are honored to have in the new U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi. It's good to talk to you, Pam.
Good to talk to you.
So let me read a little bit from the criminal complaint here. And Judge Dugan says, despite having been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores Ruiz, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel out of the courtroom through the jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse. A foot chase ensued. The agents pursued Flores Ruiz for the entire length of the courthouse and ultimately apprehended him. According to this complaint, Judge Dugan was visibly angry that...
Yeah, visibly angry. He's right. I wish we had more of that speech, but whatever. Yeah. It's happening. Also happening, which is funny, New York Attorney General Letitia James has tapped criminal defense attorney Abby Lowell, probably, who previously defended Hunter Biden against federal tax and gun charges as she fights mortgage fraud allegations. It's easy to say it's a 5-unit home or 5-unit structure or whatever the frick, right? Not hard to prove. It's not an allegation. You said it was 2 to 3, 3 to 4 is what you said. When the 5+ was the other option, you knew you had 5. 3 to 4 is not 5. 3 to 4 is 3 to 4. 5+ would have to be 5 or more because 3 to 4 is 3 to 4. 1 to 2 is 1 to 2. Those are the only other two choices. Just saying. It's not an allegation. It's very simple to prove. I'd like to see how she gets out of that one. There was the other one too, and I don't remember what that one is. There's a second one though. Oh yeah, the residence. She had a home that she was saying was her residence. Her personal residence, even though she couldn't legally have that as her personal residence because she lives in New York, because she has to live in New York. Otherwise, she couldn't hold the post she holds in New York. She seems to have lied about that one, too. Strange. So strange, you know? Trump administration reverses abrupt terminations of foreign students' U.S. visa registrations. They rolled back thousands of these. It sounds like a judge basically ruled it was illegal. I mean, I don't know. Not everything's going to happen. And, maybe the ones that are criminals, we can be smart about going forward, but maybe we're going to have a harder time getting some of these people out quickly. We'll find out if they continue to do things that are illegal. might be a different story altogether. But yeah, some of these people had misdemeanors and stuff like that. I mean, whatever. That's, again, this should be like for people that are here illegally and like worried. Look, if you don't have a bunch of bad stuff on your record, probably going to be really hard to get rid of you. And we don't necessarily want to, but maybe we do, but maybe we don't. Whatever the case is, don't do a bunch of crazy illegal stuff, and you'll probably get through this. Especially considering we got issues with, people with the vaccine and stuff. I mean, anyway, we'll see. Who knows how it's going to play out. But yeah, it's 23 states, I think, fought that one. That was enough to cause them to roll it backwards. MyPillow.com/OTF. Once again, that's MyPillow.com/OTF, assuming I can actually find where the frick it is in here. Why can't I find? There you are. I don't know. Great sales going on right now. Closeout sales. The $25. He was talking about this when I had him on Wednesday. $25 of any size, folks. Okay, you guys with bigger beds, dude, jump on this. You're never gonna, because he did it for a bunch of box stores, so they made crap tons of them. And when you do it that way, you kind of get a price break because you're buying so many materials, right? And then to have that kind of fall apart, oh, dude, take advantage, right? Especially if you've got a queen or larger. Like twins are $25 normally, and then the queen's a little bit more, and the king's a little bit more. And you're like, frick, doesn't sound so sweet. Now it's still good. $25 for a king or a queen or whatever. Just insane. Check it out. We've also got toppers. They've got the best towels you're ever going to use. They've this Rev 7 I drank. It's too far. The headphones won't get there. It's not worth it. But I just drank one this morning. Love it. Love it. I don't know what it is. It tastes good. It's really good. Mike and I talked about it. You can get a free 3-pack if you haven't tried it. So just go again, mypillow.com/OTF. I think you got to pay shipping. So it's not free per se. The 3 drinks you won't pay for. But yeah, it's a 3-pack. It's pretty cool. You get to try all 3 of them. I'm telling you, I think you'll trip on the energy. That's the thing. Like, try it before you want to buy it. But I ended up buying 2 cases. Like I said, I grabbed another one this morning. They're in the fridge. My spare fridge in the garage, the old one that's nasty looking, not the one that came with the house. So yeah, that's where those are. We got 2 of them, right? So we got the lemonade. Those are really good. The apple, I'm not a big green apple guy. That was like my least favorite Jolly Rancher. But if you're a big, I love it, so good. I mean, it's that flavor for sure. It's delicious. Mike Lindell's Cross, if you want to check that out. They got men and women's, 2 different color tones. It's sterling silver, very nice stuff. Here it is, the classic collection. Love the pillow. The best pillow ever. This is what made me fall in love with this company. This is why I literally am stoked that I get to talk about my pillow products. They're incredible. Also, these slippers are just awesome. The thickness of the fur. The sole is like 7 layers. It's stitched on the side. They're extraordinarily resilient. It's like a rubber kind of sole. It's just a really freaking good shoe, essentially. And they've got the ones you can just jump into. They've got legitimate ones that you can actually step into that my girlfriend destroys. So I got her the jump intos because destroyed it. They're just mashed. It's just like abused. I don't think that way. Mine are nice and pristine, like they should be. Ay. It's all right. I don't say anything. I just secretly just fume over it. It's okay. Passive aggressive stuff always works. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. Blankets, $25. They got a lot of really good stuff. It's mypillow.com/OTF. mypillow.com/OTF. Yeah, get the best night of sleep you have ever had. Pam Bondi is ordering gender-affirming care procedures for youth to be investigated. There's a Tuesday memo that came out that's been leaked or whatever, so we'll see what comes from it. They're investigating some cool stuff. Here is the arresting of Judge Juan Cano and his wife, who were caught harboring illegal Tren de Aragua gang member in their home. I think this is the other judge that just got recently arrested, because they broke the law. I mean, you don't really tell them, once you've told them their Miranda rights, right? Like, you don't have to keep telling them, right? This guy's talking to the cop, and he's saying stuff to him. I'm like, you understand everything, and you say to me it will be used against you in a court of law, correct? Right? Like you understand that, right? Like, do you guys say that ever? The cops that are out there, or those of you that got cops that are in earshot that you can just yell at them, shit like that? I would like an answer, frankly. Okay. I'll wait. Just kidding. This is Tulsi Gabbard referring to the illegal intelligence leaks. I love the fact that we're dealing with this. This is awesome. Check it out.
One of the reasons why the American people voted resoundingly for President Trump was to root out the kind of politicization and weaponization of intelligence that has really undermined the trust the American people have in the intelligence community and the national security state, but really what also directly undermines our own national security. So I made it very clear to the U.S. Senate, to the American people when I had the honor of being appointed to this position, that we will not allow this to continue. We take this very seriously. It is illegal to leak classified information. And so what you're seeing here is me carrying out on the promise and the mandate the American people gave Trump. We conducted our own internal investigation. We have referred them now to the Department of Justice and the FBI for an official criminal investigation, because these are crimes and people need to be held accountable to put a stop to this. One of the reasons why the American people voted resoundingly for President Trump was to root out the kind of politicization and...
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
These are the first 3 investigations. We are referring to the Department of Justice. There are more that we are continuing to... investigations we're continuing
internally. Can you give me the nature of what they did, and will we know their names?
I can't get into detail now because of the criminal investigations that the FBI will be conducting. But in each one of these examples, I can tell you we know that the intent, based on the result that we've seen through their leaks to the Washington Post and the New York Times and other outlets, Huffington Post and others, has been directly to undermine President Trump and the work that he's doing.
Huffington Post. Huffington, Puffington, blow the house down. Rep former George Santos, sentenced to more than 7 years in prison. Republican George Santos, who did, all sorts of stuff wrong. I dislike this guy tremendously, and I love how he's been trying to act like, hey, man, I'm like one of you guys. No, you're not. You're a freaking criminal, buddy. 7 years in jail. There you go. Later. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. We'll talk to you when you get out. We'll see how virtuous you are then, you bastard. Detection of measles virus RNA in urine specimens from vaccine recipients. It's a study that was done, Journal of Clinical Microbiology, September 1995. You know, one of those studies. This one talks about how individuals, as children, whatever, were vaccinated. I think it was the mumps rubellum shot at that time is what they studied. And they found that it was actually showing up in their urine, the actual live virus. As well as I believe it's in this study. This one talks about the urine. I'll just specifically leave it there. There were some other places that they were noticing. But from the standpoint of the fact that live virus was literally being produced by these children with the vaccine was an interesting thing. It lasted for a period of time, didn't last forever. I think they were doing 1 to 13 days after the vaccine. As late as 14 days after the vaccine, it was detected in urine samples. This is going to enable continued studies of the shedding and transmission of measles virus, and it is hoped will provide a rapid means to identify measles infection, especially in mild or asymptomatic cases. What could kind of be happening, what this is suggesting at least, I think, is some of these measles outbreaks. One, maybe people aren't vaccinated, but 2, the people that are vaccinated, even recently, are actually shedding the virus and getting others sick. And it's kind of what happens, I guess, with these particular vaccines. So, again, it's a study. I'm just saying. That's what the study's talking about. Department of Defense has issued a statement to OMG regarding the employment status of Nicholas Terza. We shared the video yesterday. It's freaking awesome. That branch chief guy, he was caught on undercover video calling President Trump illegitimate and vowing to resist him. Well, according to senior defense officials, the individual Terza has resigned. Bye-bye. U.S. Army rolls out sex-neutral fitness test for some combat jobs. Again, folks, if it's a combat job, I want the toughest and badassest, most, yeah, right? Like, I don't want a Navy SEAL, no offense, that's G.I. Jane. I really don't, because I know that you turned down like some huge-ass giant of a dude or some guy that was like woefully able to do magic with knives or something. I don't know. I mean, there are, by the way, some characters that are very groovy that, you know, give them swords and shit, right? Like, I saw that Kill Bill, Volume 1 and 2, that chick in yellow. I mean, I'm just saying. It wouldn't be bad to have her on your team, you know what I'm saying? U.S. Congress Republicans seek $27 billion for the Golden Dome in the Trump tax bill. This whole section of bill is like $150 billion. I don't know. I hate the idea that we're spending money on trying to make weapons to kill people. I'm going to probably say that forever. I get why we have to. So, I'm, again, not going to be like, no. You know, it's not like that at all. At all. And I think the technology is cool as hell. I used to go to air shows and shit all the time. I love this stuff. But that's some of my childhood growing up and realizing, man, all this stuff's used to kill people. That sucks. Why can't we make cool shit that doesn't necessarily kill people? Right? I think that would be way more fun. Where all of us could have our own little craft to go up in space or some shit. I don't know. Something better than, let's blow up that guy. Why? He thinks different than you. Okay. Can I make a rocket ship go to space instead? Hegseth Chief of Staff leaves Defense Department amid latest Pentagon shakeup. I don't get this story. So this guy, where is this? I'm going to see if I can find his name. Casper. His exit. Like, Hegseth's like, I like this guy. He's cool. It's cool. No big thing. He doesn't really work for the government, I guess. So you're only allowed to do that 130 days a year if you don't technically work for the government. So I guess Casper didn't really work for the government. Maybe Casper was somebody that, other than being a friendly ghost, even though it's spelled differently, he maybe was just there helping. I don't know. Whatever. That's weird. So Political's bringing this story up. They're making it seem like this guy's a bad guy. Hegseth's trying to say he's a good guy. They're basically saying he can't keep working there, so he's having to leave. I'm guessing he's a good dude. I feel like maybe he's a Doge person or something, and I don't know. Maybe we lost for now, or maybe he comes back. Maybe he visits, like Musk has said. I might, spend 2 days a week. So it minimizes the number of days, and then they can start getting around some of the stupid rules. I don't know. I think we're starting to see some of that break apart right now. But whatever. Yeah, Hegseth again is like, Joe's a great guy, great America. He's done a fantastic job for us at the Defense Department. You make changes over time, and we're grateful for everything Joe's done. Like, everything is like up and up. So who knows? It's kind of weird. Also, Hegseth has used Signal app apparently connected to a dirty line on personal computer in the Pentagon office. Now, for those of you that want to see dirty line same way I like to see it, which is much cooler, it's not really, well, it kind of is, but it's basically a line that's to the normal internet versus the line that goes through the secured router, all that kind of you can't get there's a whole lot of places you can't go if you're using that line. The way the story's spinning it, of course, is he's doing this because the Signal app requires it. I don't think that's true because they put them on government devices which use encrypted and everything else stuff as well. I think one of the things that they like about Signal is it handles that kind of stuff much better than other apps. Two, we're also finding out and going to find out, maybe here or not, maybe it was already mentioned and I failed to say, but they're talking about how the Biden administration started using Signal. And I think we're going to find, because we've got people that are requesting 30 days or something, we'll get there, but a bunch of time of their Signal chat. They want to look at what they've been doing on this secure app that's used to have secure communications between people that require security. Now, again, do I like the fact that using the Signal app and we don't have some sort of weird homegrown thing that we sort of trust ourselves? No. Do I like the fact that the one of the people on the board of Signal happens to be the CEO of NPR? No, I don't like that either. There's a lot of problems I have with Signal. Is this maybe the way that we get this removed, and that's just trying to trick the deep state into doing that? I wonder, because that would work. That would work, because now it's not us choosing this, it's them choosing it. And that always works better. Because this app is probably not as secure as we like to think. I don't think they do anything on there that matters, but they're making a big damn deal about it. Signal chat participants sued for 3 months of app records. 3 months. 90 days. I was way off. Like, it's way worse even. I was like, my brain would not have handled that. 30 days seemed like a long time to me. 90 effing days, man. Crap. 90 days worth of stuff for all the dudes in there. All the dudes. Not just in that particular chat. They want to see everything they've talked about. This is obviously the deep state trying to get information. And these records shouldn't exist. And that, again, will make noise. NSA's Mike Waltz giving a ringing endorsement to Hegseth, traces Signalgate to Biden-era guidance. Oh, cool. Here's the thing. Said, look, it absolutely was authorized by Biden administration. That's why CI Director John Ratcliffe said it was sitting there on his phone on the first day in office. Why? Because the Chinese were trying to intercept all of our communications. So here's how we've been using it. This is everything we need right here, literally. We knew it from the get-go. We knew what it was being used for. You don't want to just shut it off. You want them to think they got you. We've had people fired for leaks that have happened around the administration. And we've tied it into the same timing of Signal happening, thinking it's related to that. No. The leaks of Signal are most likely that CEO chick and their ilk, or China, or deep state, I don't know, whatever. That's where that's happening. We knew it, though. So the stuff they've been saying on there, if there is specific information, we're trying to figure out which chats they're looking into. So we put weird shit in it. Well, they're talking about the flights, the actual flights, the F-18s that were going in. Well, if you actually had any records looking at the actual battle, what was said in that Signal chat was definitely not what happened. It was a trap. And that's how this is playing out. Now, when they can tell us stuff, I don't know. We'll see. But this whole Signalgate thing is a bunch of horse shit. We had a successful test of our new hypersonic weapon, Dark Eagle. One thing that seems kind of cool about this that they're touting in a weird way, I guess. This thing's range is not that significant. It's 1,700 miles. But it says it can reach the top of the Earth's atmosphere and remain just beyond the range of air and defense systems until they are ready to strike. And by then, it's too late to react. Which makes it sound like this thing can kind of just go up there and chill. Does that mean it goes up into low Earth orbit to some way? Or, I don't know. Does it just somehow float? I don't know. But it's got 1,700 mile range. I don't know if you can get it up into the upper atmosphere and just wait for it to finally eventually drift over what you want. 1,700 miles might be longer than that. And it's a glide vehicle. It's able to maneuver at Mach 5 or some shit like that. Crazy fast. So what is the long-range hypersonic weapon? This is one of the ones. Had a lot of testing issues, but sounds like it's going forward. I think this is a cover for other technologies that are sort of maybe being announced kind of in a weird, like to China kind of way. Like, you know, like we wouldn't know because we don't know of all the crazy top secret shit we actually have, but China kind of knows a bunch of stuff that we have, and they're like, we don't know about this. Or there's something, you know, like, I don't know. There's like technology that's required to be able to do this that they don't know about, right? Like, again, they're reading the story the same way. Well, they're reading it better than I am, but I'm reading it well. TWC.health, folks. Just to cover it quick, TWC.health/OTF. I don't want to spend too much time on this. But we do have wonderful products. One, supplement lines. Check them out. Spike support. If you've had to roll up your sleeve, you get it. Med kits, contagion kits. Got a bunch of HCQ, bunch of Ivers, and it's done through a doctor and all that stuff. Very legal. Awesome kit. It's refillable up to like 2 or 3 years or something like that. Incredible. Awesome stuff. Also the anti-aging, the ivermectin mebendazole. I'm just going to show this because it's incredible. One, we keep pissing them off because we've been buying a lot of it. But this parasite cleanse, those of you that understand the concept of parasites and how a lot of sicknesses seem to have some relations, viruses and parasites seem very, very similar. This cleanse is it's a 90-day supply. You're getting a 3-month supply, or 90 days at least. And that will be a powerful hit. It's 25 milligrams of the Ivers It's also 250 milligrams of mebendazole. This is a very strong way to hit any sort of parasitic problem that you might have in your life. Highly recommend you check it out. It's certainly not MyPillow. That's not the right advertisement to show on the screen, but twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. I literally still can't see it. Where are you? There it is. That's why. There you go. twc.health/OTF. Great products. Make sure you go to the anti-aging tab to find this ivermectin, mebendazole med kits, or where there's a lot of good stuff. First aid kits, kids emergency kits, travel kits, a lot of things your kids don't necessarily ever have emergency kits. These are great gifts, especially for children because they don't think of stuff. So again, remember all that. twc.health/OTF. Yes, it's healthy living. Big time. It's what we need right now. Big time. India hunting militants in Kashmir as tensions with Pakistan soar. So I got the little bit of information I was curious about, and it's not super helpful, but helpful. So April 25th, armed police and soldiers searched homes and forests for militants in Indian Kashmir on Friday, and India's army chief reviewed security there after the killing of 26 men at a tourist site. It's the worst attack on civilians in nearly 2 decades. The attack triggered outrage and grief in India, along with calls for action against neighbor Pakistan, whom New Delhi accuses of funding and encouraging terrorism in Kashmir, a region both nations claim and have fought 2 wars over. Now, this could be kind of happening like that. And maybe this is something that's trying to brew, and this is deep state trying to nudge this into a bad direction. But we've also got the possibility that, again, I think this, well, I guess that's my point. It's the deep state, I think, is definitely trying to nudge them into action. And that is definitely not something that's going to work for their advantage, or it's not going to work at all. We'll see. But this is causing huge problems. Obviously, India, Pakistan, travel, they've kicked people out of the embassies and stuff. Like, it's a pretty big deal. So we've got to see that hopefully improve. That's for sure. Former NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg was sitting with President Trump. They were talking about Norway and kind of dealing with Ukraine. And again, this is a public thing. This is what they need everybody to see. I think this is where Trump's basically backing away from the whole thing, kind of like America's not going to continue supporting this. We don't have it in us anymore. And so we'll see if it gets handed off accordingly or if the war ends, because ultimately the deep state needs and wants the war to continue. And we're not willing to pay for it anymore. And I feel like this is some of that confirmation publicly.
Briefly on Ukraine, since it was mentioned, we had a very good and extensive discussion about Ukraine, the path forward to peace. And as the Prime Minister said, we commend the US for pushing forward to try to find a negotiated solution. At the same time, we need to continue to support Ukraine. And therefore, I'm proud that Norway has actually tripled the military support to Ukraine. And this year we will allocate close to $8 billion to Ukraine. That will strengthen them and also their hand on the negotiating table.
I may add to that, if there's a peace, and there will be a peace, we have a common responsibility in securing democratic Ukraine for the future. And the best security guarantee they can have is the ability to defend themselves. And we are investing in that.
Hardest part about Twitter is the fact that anything under a minute, man, it repeats. It's so hard if you're not paying attention as well as you should be anyways. Car bomb in Moscow has killed a senior Russian military officer. I don't believe this video shows the horrific footage. I saw from an angle where you see somebody walk into the frame. There's kind of bushes hiding them, and then the explosion happens, and yeah, it's pretty brutal. I didn't want to share it, but this has killed someone important, and right before the peace negotiations. Right? Deep state doesn't want this to happen. President Trump's probably the only leader on earth that gets it, Lavrov says.
The statement by the president mentions a deal, and we are ready to reach a deal, but there are still some specific points, elements of this deal which need to be fine-tuned, and we are busy with this exact process. And the president of the United States did not spell out the elements of the deal, so it is not appropriate for me to do this.
But he did say there was a deal and that he was sending his envoy, Steve Witkoff, to meet with Vladimir Putin Friday in Russia. Is that meeting still happening? And should we expect a deal this week?
Well, you don't trust the word of the President of the United States?
I was asking your president's word. What will he tell the U.S. envoy?
We continue our contacts with the American side. on the situation in Ukraine. There are several signs that we are moving in the right direction. First of all, because President Trump is probably the only leader on earth who recognized the need to address the root causes of this situation. When he said that it was a huge mistake to pull Ukraine into NATO, and this was a mistake by Biden administration, and he wants to rectify this.
Here's Trump's envoy Witkoff meeting President Putin.
How are you, Mr. President?
Fine, just fine, thank you.
How are you? So good to see you. From the embassy. Okay.
Again, things are changing. The people, the right people, are at the table and talking. Not the wrong people. Not the people that literally at this point have no power anymore either. U.S. is going to lead attack against Iran very willingly if talks fail. Trump's talking super tough with them. Like, we're going to hit your nuclear facilities. We kind of have to be involved. He sort of makes it sound like we could let Iran or let Israel handle this. I don't think we need bunker busters. And I think this gets into energy weapons. I think this is, I mean, you've got centrifuges that probably have a lot of metallic parts. Microwaves travel through rock, I'm pretty sure, at least or maybe on the other side of the spectrum of energy weapons, they do travel. And if you can excite those centrifuges in any sort of way, you could actually cause all sorts of problems internally without having to even drop a nuclear bomb or anything. Many people think too conventionally. 5G warfare doesn't just mean information warfare. It also is like energy weapons, too. We probably should really have the shirt represent that as well. But yes, we're in a very different way of thinking about killing each other. We've gotten super good at it. So sad. So, yeah, things are getting serious, and I think people know it. Texas lawmakers approve a $1 billion private school voucher plan, which is going to Abbott's desk. I guess it's going to let people kind of put their kids in private school and use public funds to do it. So that's kind of cool. School choice, basically the first people to pull it off. So good on you guys. Michigan review of non-citizens on voter rolls skipped those without driver's licenses. Yeah, not good at all. Skipped them. The ones that didn't have driver's license, we're not going to worry about those. Don't worry about them. And I'll be honest, if you use any criteria in driver's licenses when you're doing a sequel pull, for example, right? And maybe it's something that sometimes has no information, and you say, well, we want to have the driver's license numbers be between this number and this number because that would imply the range of when they were created. It's just an easy way to do it, probably. And and then come to find out anybody that doesn't actually have a driver's license number, since you used it as a criteria, if there's missing information, it just gets left out of the results because it obviously didn't fall into any of those categories. Not only was there no information, it certainly didn't match, or it'd be called null is what we typically call it. And that's just an ugly word, frankly. Null never gets naked. I'll tell you that. Never. I don't think I've ever heard that before. That's kind of funny. In reversal of previous opinions, the U.S. Department of Justice says that the contentious UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, I think that's kind of how they say it, is not entitled to immunity from lawsuits. They're going to go after them, and they're going to sue them for the people killed during October 7th in Israel. That's an interesting change of heart. U.S. Justice Department supporting that going forward. That's friggin' fantastic. The WHO, they've announced the significant layoffs 3 months after Trump halts U.S. funding. Layoffs. Yeah, there's a huge budget gap in being able to pay for employment. Now they are talking out in like the 2026, 2027 years, I thought they said somewhere in this article. Which is like, well, then friggin' scale back. They're tards because no one else is going to pay the extra money. But yeah, UN's in a tough place right now, man. I think last I heard, it's a rumor. It's a rumor. I'm not sure it's true, but I heard he was giving blowjobs for $12 million out in the parking lot, trying to make some money for the UN. $12 million a piece, though. Hey, if you're rich and you like chocolate skin, I'm just saying. You've got nice lips, right? I don't know. Just saying. I don't know. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not passing judgment. Shoot. Financially motivated sextortion. Accidental tie-in. That really wasn't intended. there was an operation happening in Nigeria. They were targeting perpetrators. The two particular individuals that were involved in this it's very sad too, because they are, what the hell? They are unfortunately young. 12 and 13, I believe, were the ages they said, and it's freaking crazy that this was happening to them. This was happening out of Nigeria, and these kids were being essentially sex-torted. Like, you have to do more and more of this stuff or else. And that's, they got, I don't know, some kids have committed suicide over this too, like, being threatened, like, so I'm going to show your naked pictures online, and they think they're like a girl or something. They have no idea. They're just getting rocked, so it's really messed up. So yeah, that is a really messed up set of stories. Guys, we have a great music show coming up. I've got a lot happening in the big picture. I love you guys. We're going to continue working through this. I'm going to get this video pushed up shoulder to shoulder. We're getting there. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.